So now we will discuss another important concept which is known as the TypeScript, because this is very much important for the SharePoint framework development. You should know about TypeScript because we are not using C#.NET here. We are using TypeScript. Altogether might be you are not familiar with that, but let me just tell you that here we will discuss a very important points on this TypeScript. We will also see what are the advantages of using TypeScript, how we can download it, how we can install it, and then also we will see a sample program. So a hello world program. I will show you how we can use Visual Studio to create that project, and also we will see how we can use npm so that we can run our project. So that also I will show you. So here also I have done the same thing. I created a sample PDF file. So, or not sample PDF file, it's a PDF file that I have created for this particular TypeScript introduction. And on this, I put everything till the example, how we can create the example as well. Now, let me open the file. So if you'll see here, this is the TypeScript. So as I said, it is open source and it is developed by Microsoft. So this is one thing that it is by Microsoft. It is developed and maintained by Microsoft, and it is a open source and object-oriented programming language. So if you are familiar with C#.NET, then what are the features are there in OOPS concept or the object-oriented programming concept? You will get everything on a TypeScript. And TypeScript, as I said, it is like C#, having the concept of like classes, interface, all these things. And ideally, what happened is when you will compile the TypeScript code, it will create a simple JavaScript code. So when you will write the code, it will write in the TypeScript, and then but when you will compile it, ultimately it will generate a JavaScript file. I'll show you that also. Now, for example, how it will be simple. Let's say this is the syntax for having a string variable having the value as hello world, and you will having a console.log, a log where it will show you the message. Now, once you will compile it, it will create a JS file which will be like this. You can see here var message. So like a variable that you are creating, and it will show you. I mean, you have the log things also that it will compile. I will show you that in practical also. Don't worry if you are not getting it still. But next, what is the benefit? Why we are going for using this TypeScript? So as I said, we are comparing the things with JavaScript. So let's say JavaScript is an interpreted language. That means, let's say you miss some bracket, some colon, some spelling mistake you have done, then you need to run the code, and then it will give you the error. So that means uh, it will not compile the code. You have to run the code, and then you will see, okay, this is the error here. I miss it. I miss the bracket. There is a semicolon added which is should not. So like these errors you will be able to find it after running the code in case of JavaScript. But in TypeScript, it will compile the code, and this kind of syntax error you will be able to find it during the compilation time. And similarly, it is strongly typed. So your JavaScript is not strongly typed. For example, if I'll show you this example here, I created a variable and I store it a hello world. Next in the next line, I assigned a integer value to I. So that means it is not strongly typed. We are not dependent on the type that we have declared here. But in object-oriented language, any language you take, it will not allow you to do that. For example, if you have created an integer variable, then it will allow you to enter only integer, or it will allow you to insert to assign only integer value to that variable. But TypeScript is strongly typed. So that is, there are some other benefits are there which are related to your object-oriented programming. So we will see on some other video also how we can declare variables, classes, interface, all these things. But now we will see first of all how we can compile it. So if I remember, I said Visual Studio code, whatever we discussed in our previous video, that it support for JavaScript and HTML and TypeScript. So your Visual Studio code includes your TypeScript language support, but it doesn't include the compiler. So your your TypeScript compiler will not be there in Visual Studio. For that, what we have to do is we have to install this through our npm. So here you can see there is another use that we are using npm. So our npm will help us to install TypeScript. This is the command you can see, npm install -g. So it will install globally and then TypeScript. So this is the command. You can open the node.js command prompt. So this command prompt, and it will, you can just run this command, and then you can check the version here. So if you want to check the TypeScript version, then you can run this command. For example, here I will say tsc hyphen hyphen and then version. So you can see here I put it, and it will show me now the version is 3.5.3. It is already installed on that. So this is how we can install our TypeScript compiler from npm. So this is the, you can see this is how previously it was not installed. So I run this command npm install -g TypeScript, and it, you can see here it added something, and finally if I check the version, then I will be able to see this is my TypeScript version. Now I will show you how we can create a hello world application, but before that let me just show you a couple of things from here. For example, let's say this is a code that which will show a hello world message, and ideally what we have to do is, when you will work with TypeScript, first thing is you have to add a JSON file. This is known as tsconfig JSON file. So this is the first file you should add on that, and this will actually define the the TypeScript project settings. So that thing it will show you. Now when you will add a workspace, you can manually add it. That means I will go and say add a file, and then I'll type tsconfig.json, and then you can add this code. For example, compiler option target es5. So this is the cs script version, and or you have another option also. You can just write ts hyphen in, sorry, hyphen init, and it will add this file for you. That means you don't need to add it manually also, that you can do it. And then you can then you will be able to see here. I will show you. You can go to the view terminal, and then you can run the command. So tsc hello world.cs, so if whatever the file name you have, and then if you'll see here, it will create a JS file. I'll show you that, and then once you run the JS file, it will give you the output like this. So it will show you the output. I think I missed that, but it will show you hello world over there. Now let's go and we will start our Visual Studio, and then I will show you how we can add this file, and then we will see how we can run the first file, which is our hello world file on this. So I will search here. So I'll go and search for Visual Studio Code. You can see here. So first, what we will do is we will add a workspace into this Visual Studio Code. So I will you can see here, I'll click on add folder, and here I will add a folder on that. So I'll go to the desktop, and here I can create a folder. So I'll say new folder. I will say TypeScript uh, TypeScript hello world. You can see here, or I will say TypeScript demo. I think this is the best thing, demo, and then I will click on add. So now the folder will be added. So as I said, after that we need to add this file, which is known as your tsconfig.json file, and this, as I said, you can do and this way, both the way. You can add a file, or you can also use the command which is known as tsc-init. So how we can do this? You can create the file, so you can give a name, and then you can paste that code. But let's see how we can add programmatically. I mean, how we can add through our prompt. So for that, what we can do is you can click on view, and then this is the terminal where you can write that command. So if we'll go here, this is the command, and here I can write this. So I will say tsc-init, and I will click on enter. So once you click on enter, what it is saying is, it is saying it is successfully created a tsconfig.json file. And if I'll expand this, you can see here, this is the file that it got created. So I'll double click on that, and then you'll be able to see all these options are there. So the target version is ES5. So this is the ECMS script targeted version, and then similarly module, and few other things are there. You can just go through it, actually write exactly what it is, this property is, and then that will be helpful for you to understand what are the things that you should uncomment and use. So whatever the basic things it is required, so it will uncomment for you, so we don't need to do anything on that. Next, what we have to do is we have to add our a TypeScript file. So for this, I will click on this new file, or I will right click on this folder, and I will say new file wherever I can do. So I will say now hello world dot ts. So ts is the TypeScript extension, so we have to put that ts extension. Now once you put this extension, then I will write the code. So actually we have not gone through the how we can write the code, how we can declare a variable, how we can declare class, all these things. So what I'll do is I will simply copy this code, which is this is our code. I will copy this code on this message like this. Let me just copy it. So I will go to our code editor. I will just paste this code. So let message string, and this is what is the console.log message, so that it will show the message for us. Now here we need to run the commands as I said you. So what we have to do is, first thing is we have to generate that file. So how it will do that is, so we can run this command, which is known as our tsc hello world dot ts. So once you will do this, then it will generate our js file. So for this you can see here already the terminal is open, else anytime you can go to view and then click on terminal. Now here I will say tsc, and what is the file name? You can see here hello world dot ts. So I will say hello world dot ts. So once you will click on enter, it will actually create a JS file. You will look at here, you will be able to see the JS file once it is created. So you can see here it is done successfully, and this is our JS file created. And then how we can run it? So here actually you can come up with our npm. So I will say npm hyphen and then hello world dot js. So this time we'll run the JS file. Now you can see here it should show us the file. No, it is not uh, npm. It is let me just see that command. It is node. Sorry, we need to write the node command here. So let me just clear it. So I will say cls, and I will say node, and then hello world dot js. And now if you'll see here, it should show us. Let me just see this hello world.js file. You can see here it is a blank, nothing is coming here. So if ideally it should come, if it is not coming, then what we can do for this is there is something that we have to add over here. And what is that? Let me show you first. So what you will do here is, this is the file that you should create a task for it. So how it will be, how we can create it? You can go here and say configure default build task, and then we need to select our task here. So for that, what I will do is I will go to this code. So I will say view, and then this is our command uh, editor. So here you can see, you can just search for task, and then this is the option configure default task. Click on enter. So once you will click on enter, then you can see here it is showing you two options. One is ts build and ts watch. Click on ts watch. So once you click on ts watch, it will actually add this json file. So this json file, once it is added now, so you can see here the file has been added. Once it is added, I will run again the same thing. So I will say tsc hello world dot js, sorry, dot ts. And now if you'll see here, it will create it. So the js file again. Uh, Now if you want, we can just delete it. Let me just delete it. I will run this command again. So you can see here, now it will create this. So you can see here now our JS files got created. So if I'll click on this, you can see here, this is very important. it is showing the a simple, it converted into a simple JavaScript var message like this. So in the like it didn't work at the before. Now if I will write this node command, node hello.js, hello world.js, you can see here the output is coming over here, whatever it should show the message. So if it is not coming, you can add this two steps, whatever I said you. I have also mentioned in this document where you can go here and then configure default build task, and then you set tsc and watch whatever the file name it will come, click on that, and then it will generate this particular file. So this file you can see here, this is the file under .vs code, and then it will create this file. So once this file is there, now again then you will come back here and then you will write your tsc hello world.ts, then it will generate your js file, and then you can call your node hello world.js. So then it will create your hello world, sorry, it will run your file, and most importantly you should see that it should convert it. If it didn't convert, that means your output will not come. So that's the reason previously our output didn't come even if I wrote node hello world.js. So this is how actually we have created a very simple uh, your TypeScript application. We run it and we see how the output will come, and how important these two files are there, tsinfo sorry tsconfig.json and your task.json. And in our upcoming tutorial, next lecture, we will see some more depth about our TypeScript. So what are the things that we can do, how we can create variable functions, classes, interfaces like this. We'll see those things, and so that then we can start our framework development. Okay, so we saw our first part TypeScript tutorial, and this is the second part where I will explain a lot of things on the language side of it. So in the previous video, we saw how we can create a sample TypeScript or high-level TypeScript application. Here also we will create that. Apart from that, I will show you a couple of things on this TypeScript. For example, here all these things we will check out. So we will check about this variables, annotations, then we will see about array, then enums, functions, and if else, switch, for loop. So those things also we will see. We will see about interface, and then class, module, and namespace like this. So this is a simple 12-13 pages document that I have created, a PDF that I have created, and I hope this will give you an overview how we can use TypeScript. So remember, TypeScript is huge, so you can read as much as you want, but I have prepared such a way that we will be able to use TypeScript when we will develop our SharePoint Framework application, but at least you can use it. So in the later point of time, if you want to read more, you can read more anytime. But this is the basic tutorial that we will get and hands on how we can use this. So to do this, what we will do is, first thing is we will create a TypeScript application in Visual Studio Code. So I will open my Visual Studio Code here. So I will just search for Visual Studio Code. You can see here this one. And now we will create one a folder over there, which is known as the workspace. So click on this add folder. So then you can see here it is going here. So on this desktop we will create a new folder. So I'll click on new folder and I will say TypeScript basic tutorial, something like that I will say. So we'll create a folder. This is the workspace that we say in TypeScript. Click on add. So now a workspace got added on that. So as I said in the previous video, what we have to do first here is we need to add the tsconfig.json file. So which is the first step that you should add, and this defines the TypeScript project settings, such as your compiler options, files that should be included like this. So that file is first required. So you can see here nothing is there in this workspace. We don't have anything. Now to add that, one thing is you can create new file, and then you can add a new a file over there, you can just give the name as tsconfig.json. But the other way what we can do is we can add it from the terminal. So I'll say view, and then you can see here terminal is there. Click on that, and now if you'll see here, it opened our terminal here. And now on this, you can see here it is we need to first define the path here, because the path you can see here it is taking this C user path, but we have to give the desktop path. So I will say cd, you can see here. So you will say cd desktop, and then we have to go to this particular folder which is known as TypeScript basic tutorial. So you'll cd, and I will paste this. So you can see here now we are in that particular folder. So in this folder we need to create the file. So remember, if you are you have to go to that folder only where you want to run the command. So I will say tsc double hyphen, and then I will say init. Once I click on enter, now you can see here it is showing successfully created the tsconfig.json file. So our JSON file got created now. Next, what we have to do is we can add our file, and apart from that also we can give our we can create the task over there. So to add a file, you can just click on this. You can see here I will say, let's say demo dot ts. So this is going to be our TypeScript file here. Now next what we can do is click on view and then go to this terminal. So in this terminal, what we can do is, let me just go there again. We don't need this. Sorry, not terminal, view and then command palette. So you can see here this one. And here if you'll see the first one, task configure default build task. Click on that, and you can see here, then you can see here build or watch over there. So you can select this watch, so tsc watch, and then this is your tsconfig.json file. Click on that, and now you will see here it will generate a file task.json under a folder .vs code. So it will create that. So once these two got created, now we can write our code here. Now to write our code, what we can do is we will just see whether our JavaScript, or sorry, our TypeScript code is working or not. So I will just show a message over there, and then we can go from there. So I will say let, then I will say message, and then you can see here I declare like string equal to, and then we can have a value over there. So I will say, let's say it is Bijay, and then I will say console, you can see here console dot log, and then we will log a message there. Which message? Whatever the message you can see here, this is the message. So now we have to run this file. From here we can run it. So first thing what we can do is we'll use the tsc. So tsc and then the file name dot ts. So here the file name is demo. So I'll say demo dot ts. This is the file name that is there. So once you add this, it will generate the JavaScript file or the JS file. So once it will run successfully, it will create it. You can see here demo.js file. You can see this one. So the reason our demo.js file was blank, because the file this ts info, this demo.ts file, I didn't save it. So that's the reason it was blank. So now I saved it, and again I run that command. You can see here this is our JS file. Now once our JS file is there, we can use the node command. Sorry. So you can see here I will come here, I will use this node, and then I will say our file name .js. So it is demo.js. Now you can see here it is showing me the message. That means till now our this thing is fine. Now I will show you from that PDF. We might not be able to run and see every command, but I will surely explain you each and every code, each and every command that we wrote, the code that we wrote. I will explain that so that we will be able to know how we can use it. Let me just put a clear here. I will make this little smaller. Yeah. So now if you'll see here, let me open it. So if you'll see here now, so first one we will see here in JavaScript. If you'll see normally, um, JavaScript is not a typed language. That means we don't need to really define this the data type. So here we can just use var and then we can assign string or we can assign integer into that or the number. Those things we can do. But here, as we know, TypeScript is a typed language. So we need to specify that I need a number here, I need a string here, or we need boolean here. Anything we have to define it. So how we can define that? We can define by using the this colon and then the type. So type is like, let's say it is string, it is number like this. Now for example, let's say I wrote here var first name and then we say string and then we are assigning here. Let me just copy this code once. So if I will copy this code, I will go here. We'll not put in the JS file. We will put in the TS file. So if we'll now see here, what we did here is, let me just put first name here. Okay. So now if we'll see here, so we say type. So normally we declare var first name like this in JavaScript. Now extra what we are doing here is we are putting a colon and saying string. That means a string and we can assign a value like this. So if it is a number, I can assign a value like this. If it is boolean, you can see here, I say var, then the variable name, a colon, and then the boolean. This is the data type. And we are saying it is true. Now suppose I will try to print here first name. You can see here, this is what is the first name. And also if we want to, we can put the age, we can put the boolean, so it will return the value. So here in this case it will return 33 like this. So if we want, we can do like this. I'll put a plus there and we can say age and we will say dot to string. We can take this to string here. And now if I will go here, I will we will generate the demo.js file again by running the command our tsc, and then I will say demo.js, sorry, demo.ts. And if you'll see here, now it will generate um, the file, the JS file. You can see here, and I will now run it. So I will say node and then I will say demo.js file. So if you can see here, now it should show us. Let me just. So again, I didn't save this. So make sure that you save it. So once you save it, now you go here, we will generate the file again. So just to verify, once this file is created, we can check our JS file. Make sure to save it. Now you can see here the JS file has changed. So now here what we will do is, now I can run the other command. I will say this one. So now you can see here it is showing the value Bijay Kumar and then the age. So this is how we can run it. So maybe whatever the examples we will do now, we might not be able to run everything and see, but this is how we can run it. So every time you put the code, make sure that you save the file and then you run the TSC command, and then after that you run the node command for that particular JS file. In this case, it is just demo. Now, so this is how actually we need to define it. For example, now if we'll check this code, if I'll explain you this code, once I declare this var first name as string, every time if you want to assign a value, then I should assign a string value, not a integer value. So if you'll see here, now is direct employee, which is a number type. I assigned I didn't take this is direct employee, sorry, it's a boolean type. I assigned it 12, which is a number. And similarly, the first name is a string but assign a boolean value. Both the cases it will give error because this is what is not expected, because we declare the variable as boolean but we are trying to give the value as integer or boolean value. So make sure that whatever the type you declare you have to assign that. Now, so this annotations not only in variables, it can be on function parameters as well. So in TypeScript, I will also show how we can declare functions. But if you'll see here, this is just a function. So function keyword we usually use, and this is get employee details is my function name, and I have declared two variables here, age number and first name as string. So if I will try to get this value, so you can see here I will say age and first name. um, so this is how we can use this inside a function parameter. So we need to just put colon and number or colon and string, colon boolean, whatever we want to do. Similarly, for object properties, now suppose this is a complex property, object property, and here if we'll see, I said var training details is the name, and then if you'll see here, I'm putting the semicolon, I'm saying course string and price number. So that means here also we are saying the course can be of string and price is number. So this is how actually we have to define the type. So if it is a number, if it is a, remember there is no integer double, that concept is there, it's number. So everything is just number. So this is how we can do number, string, boolean like this. So just put a colon and then the data type. Now next, if we'll see here the variables, we created a couple of variables. If we'll see in our all the demo, so we create using var keyword, using late keyword. So there are actually three ways that we can create um, um, the variables. One is your var keyword, late keyword, and constant keyword. So as the name suggests, the last one, it is constant, you cannot change it, we'll see that. And also variable names are case sensitive. So the full name, and if I'll put capital and N, these are two different things. So full name small and full name capital are two variables. So it's purely case sensitive, and variable with the same name and case can be declared in different blocks. So this you can do that in different block, you can declare it. Now I will declare like this, let full name. So let's say this is my variable name and I can assign the value, or I can also do this way. So I will say string and then I can assign the value. So both the things are fine. If you are not assigning, you are also doing, it is also fine. It will take that. Now the variables, now what is the difference between this let and var keyword? So if you are declaring a variable by using let keyword, or if you are declaring a variable by using the var keyword, there's certain difference on that. One difference is that when you declare a variable by using the let keyword, it will limit it to the block. So wherever you have declared that, only there it will be available. And if you cannot, if you are you cannot read or write before they are declared. So you have to declare first, then only you can write it. For example, if I'll show this code, I have look at this two line of code. One is your console.log first name. So I have tried to print this thing, uh, and then I am declaring this as this is a string variable. So this will give error. So it cannot be like this. So you have to first declare and then you can use it. Next is the constant variable. So when we declare a constant variable, the value it cannot be changed. So we cannot we can declare this, but this constant value cannot be changed once it is declared. So that's what we can do. So for variable, for complex variable or the object type variables, you can see here I have a constant variable employee details and it has age, full name, salary. So this becomes a constant variable, we cannot change it. And also it has various methods. So when you declare a variable or when we deal with variables, so variable has certain methods over there. So for example, let's say let's say this is a variable where you can integer type and where you can use the method to fixed, to precision, to string, value of, like this we can use this method. So these are inbuilt methods, so you can just and it is well available in the intelligence property, so you can in the intelligence you will be able to see this. So numbers means it can be, as I said before also, integer, decimal, hexadecimal, whatever you take, it is just a number. Now these things I will show you how we can use these methods also. Suppose let me just copy this code. I will just copy here and I'll go to my Visual Studio. Let me just remove everything. Now if you'll see here, I have a variable name known as salary, and it is of type number. So if you'll see here, this is 5.7834. And if I'll say to fixed, that means if it is more than 5, then it will return 6. And if it is, I'm saying to fixed and I'm passing 1, 2, or 3, so it should be actually 3. So 1, 2, 3, if I am passing, first time when I'm doing 1, then it will return the up to 1 value. Since it is 7, so it will return 8. And next 2, if you'll see here, it is 7, 8, but since it's 8 is more than 5, so it is returning 7, 9. So like this, you can use these methods. So these are methods which are available for this particular variables. Now, there is a concept known as inferred typing. So what is this actually? So when you are actually, let's say, what actually your TypeScript will do is TypeScript always try to find out what type of variable that you have created, and then it will see whether you are assigning a right value to that variable or not. For example, here I have declared a variable which is of type string and another variable which is type number. Now here I said, then in the third statement I try to assign the numeric value to a string value. So let me just copy this code once. So now if you'll see here, again it will give the error in this file itself. You don't need to run it and test it. So before that, unlike JavaScript, you will get the error over here. Now this is a variable of type string. This is a number. You cannot assign a number value to a string. So this is what TypeScript always check, and this is known as inferred typing. Now similarly, there is a doc typing in TypeScript which also is there. What is this doc typing? So this TypeScript uses a method for complex variables. Now if you'll see here, I have a variable name as employee details, and it has this any properties. For example, it is name, then email, and then salary. So I have assigned first one is a string, second one is string, and third one is a number. So in the employee details, if you'll see here, I have assigned the value. So you can see here, I have declared it here. I am trying to assign again. So this time what I have done is, so salary I took it at the beginning, email in the middle as usual, and then I have the name. So here you can see in the last. But this above line is correct because TypeScript this will consider this as of same type. So we are not changing anything. So salary, if you'll see here, here it is numeric, here it is string and string. So it will not give any error. But if I'm trying to assign like this, so then it will give an error. For example, if I will try to assign this one like name Bijay, so only one. So there is this is not the complex type. This is actually employee details. So it will be employee details dot type. Let me just modify. So now if you'll see here, now the employee details, you cannot pass just one value here. So since it is email and salary, both the things are missing, this line will give error. So this line will give error, this line will give error, this line will also give error because we miss this one. Email and salary is there, but we miss name. and so this all this line will give error over there. So make sure that if you have declared like this, if you are interchanging these things, the values, it is fine, but at least you have to pass all whatever you are using this value for these variables, whatever you have declared. These are known as complex type variables because this is not just a variable. We have employee details, and within that also, if you'll see, I have everything in the bracket. So make sure that you put value, not like one value and two are missing. So it will give error. Now next thing is the arrays. So like in C#, we have array here in TypeScript. So you will put like this bracket, and then each array can be strongly typed. So that means you can define what my array is. So if you'll see here, I say var array details, and I have defining here string. That means I'm telling that this array will contain string only. So you can see here, I say equal to, and then I assign it. So if you'll see here now, array details, I will say, let me just copy this code again. I will show you where exactly this line will give error. Let me just copy this code. I will go here. Let me just declare here var. So now if you'll see here, now the first two line, it is not giving error because these are, we are assigning string value to that. But here if you'll see in the third line, we are assigning a numeric value to that. You cannot do that because it is strongly typed, because we said that array, it will be of type string. So make sure that whatever the array you are defining, the value, it should take that. Now there is a concept known as any or any type. What is this any type? So if you'll see here in previously in the previous code, we saw there are three things were there. So the first name, last name, and the salary. So here if you'll see where employee details, I put colon and any. So in this, I will say add ID and first name, two properties are there. So I will say employee details equal to ID 345. So this will not give an error because this is, we have defined this as any. So any of the parameter, even if I will say employee details equal to our first name something XYZ, then also it will not give any error. Next thing is the enum. So enums we usually use in C#.NET. Any programming language you take, mostly they will be having enums. So it will be also like similarly we have enums here in TypeScript. And if you'll see here, now I have an enum. I created an enum as department. So you can see here. So this is my enum. So let me just copy this code. I will put it here. I will end my bracket. So now if you'll see here, I have a NM department which has HR, finance, IT, and marketing is there. Now, there are a couple of things we have to understand, that if I will say var department department.hr, then it will give, if I will make it, it will give a 0. Why it will give 0? Because it will take the first index. So it will start from 0, 1, 2, 3. So if I will try to find department.hr, it will give 0. Similarly, if I will even try to pass like this department and square bracket, within that I will say my department, whatever I have defined, then also it will give you as numeric value. That means it will return the index. But if you'll see here, if I will try to take department and I will pass the index here, then it will give me marketing. So that means it will check which is in the third index. So 0, 1, 2, 3, which is marketing, and then it will return me marketing. Obviously, you have to do toString. So once you make it to toString, it will return this. So this is how we can work with enums. Remember, I'm not executing this code. You can execute it because every time we have to run the code and then show you. Let me do one thing. Let me just show you this enum. So I will say, let's say clear. So here, let's say we will do this example. Now I will say var department like this. I'll copy this code. I will put over here. Now I will save this code first of all, and then I will say tsdemo.cs, and then we will, once it is created successfully, then we will use the node js1, you can see here. Now you can see here it is showing us marketing. So I have executed all this code. Make sure this code will execute, so you can also try these things. Now, so this is about enums. Now we will discuss about functions. This is also quite important, functions. So we declare functions in TypeScript, like we have functions in C#.NET. So here also we have functions, and this is how we declare in TypeScript. So you can see here function and then function name. This is how we do. And then now if you'll see here, we have parameters over here. So I said first name is string and second name is also, sorry, the last name is also string, and colon and then string. What is the string? The second one, this is the data type, sorry, the return type. So the function will return a string here. That's the reason we said string. If you want to have void, you can have void also. I will show you that. Now then the return, I will say first name plus last name, so it will return that. So you can see here now the var result. I will call, this is how we can call it. So I will have to pass two parameters of type string. So that's the reason I pass two things. And if I will try to pass integer value like 5 and 10, the second line will give error. So this is how you can declare a function. So if you want to declare a void, so you can see here the return type is void, and it will not return anything. It will just write the message over there. So if you want to really want to know about function, you can see here, just you imagine the sorry, the colon, and then this is the return type, and this is how we can pass typed parameters into that. So there is also a concept known as anonymous function, which are defined on the fly, and it will not specify a function name. So ideally there will not be a function name, but it will work as a function. If you'll see this example, I have var add number function, and if you'll see here, I have said number one, and then it is of type number. Number two also I have, it is of type number. So we took two numbers, and then you can see here the return type is number, but we didn't give a function name. So I didn't say here function and then my function, something like that. We didn't do that. So we do that on the fly. So function, this cases you don't need to give the name. So then here number one and then number two, like this, and then return number one plus number two. So it will return this number one, two. Now similarly, there is another function is known as same arrow function. So here what we do is we pass like this, your double equal to and then the mark, and then it will return that. So this is known as our array functions. In C#.NET also we have optional parameters. So here also same thing, we have optional parameters here in functions. So I will just extend our example which we took in the previous one. If you'll see, I have this time three variables, but one thing I have given extra here is a question mark. So if you'll see here, this question mark and then colon. So this question mark, when you do that, it defines that this is a optional parameter. So that means either while calling this, you can pass a value or you cannot pass a value. For example, if you'll see here, this will not give any error because it requires two parameters and one is an optional parameter. So that means you can pass a value or you may not. So this is how the second one. So if you'll see here, I have passed all three values, so it will work fine. I have passed here all two values, so this is also work fine. Now there is also we can pass the value so to these parameters. So if you'll see here, I have passed number 3 as this is the default value that I have passed it, so 5. So that means if I will not pass anything, then number 3, which is the optional parameter, it will take the value as 5 if you have not passed anything. If you pass anything, then it will take 3 over there, like we are calling here. So this is how since this is what it will return as a number. So you can see here, and it will just plus this 3 number and it will return the value, but you can pass value, or you can also, you may not pass that because that's a default value is there which it will take. So TypeScript allows us to have default parameters in the functions. Now, next, what we will discuss is we will discuss about the if else condition here. This is pretty simple, like our C#.NET. If you are aware of C#.NET, it is same. We already know how to declare variables, and we already, if you have familiar with C#.NET, then you already know how we can write a if clause. Let me just explain that. So if you'll see here, let number n1 number one of type number, and I have taken two variables of type number. So I will declare this by using this variable. We know that we have to declare by using let keyword. Now I am saying if number one greater than number two, then you can print something, else you can print something. So pretty simple on this. And similarly, if you can have multiple nested if, so if number one greater than number two, else if number one less than number two, and else if number one equal to number two. So these are nested conditions that you can take, and based on the whatever the condition it will satisfy, then it will execute that yes and that if or else block. So make sure that whatever it is satisfying, it will take that. Else you can put just a else condition in the later stage, so that you know, if you know that it might, what will happen if there is no matching condition, then you can have an additional else statement over there. Now, similarly, there is also a switch statement over there. So in switch statement, as I said before, C#, all most of the things, whatever they are in C#.NET, it is supported in TypeScript. So here also it will do the same thing. So I have the switch in a switch statement here. So I declare a variable of department. You can see here the variable name is department, and I gave a value as HR. Now I will write a switch statement. So I'll say switch, and this is the variable. So it will evaluate this. So you can see here the value is HR. So it will go to and execute the HR block. That means if I'll run this code, then it will print HR department, because it is satisfying this condition. If it will not satisfy any condition, then it will come to the default block. The logic over here is same to whatever we are using in TypeScript. Only thing is that here we are just declining the variable by using the TypeScript syntax. And similarly, there are loops over there. Let's read about loops and the other things in the next video. Okay. So as I said in the last lecture, we will see now here loops. So TypeScript, it can have, it provides three types of loops. One is your for loop, for off loop, and for in loop. So if you are familiar with C#.NET or any C language, then you can see here we declare for, and then we usually declare int I like this for integers. Here it is let I equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus, and then we can print I here. So it's a quotes is missing here, but you can put that and it will print. Sorry, you have to remove this code. And so it will print as till the condition satisfies, it will execute this code, and once the condition doesn't satisfy, it will come out of that. So similarly, there is for off loop. So it is used to iterate and access elements from an array, list, or collection. So if you'll see here, I have let's say this is an array, let department, and there are three values over there. So HR, IT, finance, and I can have a for loop like this. So for department of department, so this is our array, and then we can get this value. So whatever the department is there, first time it will print HR, IT, finance like this. Similarly, for in loop, you can iterate through a list and collection, but it returns an index. So previous example, if I saw whatever we saw, it will return directly HR, IT, or finance. But this one, if you'll see, it will return the index. So for example, here the first one, var department of this DEPT. So it's a variable name you can give of department. So from this array, so this is actually the array. There's some mistakes on that. So then if you'll see here a console.log department, so whatever is there, and then if you'll see this one will give actually the index, this one will give the value. So for example, I will say the first one department, it will give the index, so it will return 0 or 1 2 like this, because we have three values over here, and this one will return on the value. So if I will, the second console.log that we wrote, it will return actually HR, IT, and finance. First one, whatever the console.log we wrote, it will just return 0, 1, and 2. Similarly, there is while loop. So while loop, while the condition satisfies, if the condition satisfies, it will go inside, and then it will do the operation, and it will you can increment the value, and it will then come out. So till the condition satisfies, it will execute. These are normal loop concept. I hope if you have little background on C, then sorry, C++, then you already must have some idea on that. Now similarly, do while loop. So again, do while loop, it will execute at least once, and then it will check the condition. That means here the condition checking will be happening at the end, but the normally in the while loop, first time we are checking the condition and then it will enter, but here it will first enter. That means if you'll see this one, it will first go and it will print what is the value over here 5, and then I plus plus, and then the condition it will check. So first time, this is how your do while loop works. Now couple of important concept we will read. One thing is the interface in JavaScript. So if you'll see here, we can define interface like the way we use in C#.NET. So it can have properties and methods, declarations only. It will not have a body. So any class will implement that, they have to define the body. So if you'll see here, now it has interface, and I gave iProduct, and I have the properties. So first one is the number type, so prod ID, and then of type string, which is known as prod name. And I have a method definition here, sorry, declaration here, which is taking a number type, prod number, it should be a space here, and then the return type is string. Okay, so now if you'll see here also, let's say you have a product interface, you can also extend one more interface. So now if you'll see here, I created another interface, iProduct vendor, and it will extend from iProduct. That means whatever the properties and methods are available, it will come there with this has one property is there. So that means now if any class it is trying to implement this, then they have to use for this 3 and for this. That means they have to go for 3 variables and 1 method. So we have to define everything on that on the class. Now, so this is how we can also you can see here, this is how another way we can do the interface. So you can see here let product up, and you can implement it, you can see here, and this is what is the product ID, product name, and product brand. Now next is how we can implement interface in a class. We will discuss about class little later, but if you'll see here, I have an interface here which is having 2 properties and 1 method. And if I will go here, I have a class, you can see here class product. So this is my class name. Then I say implement, and this is the interface name. So once I gave this interface name, so I have to use the properties and methods from that your interface. So if you'll see here, I have a great product details method. So here I have to say the product ID, number, and string. This is the method body that we have to define here. Similarly, here it is the constructor. I will show you that. So this is how we can actually implement it. So when you are implementing, make sure whatever the properties, whatever the interface methods are there available in the interface, in the class you have to define all those things. And this is how we can call it. So this is how. Now you will get a more idea how we can implement it once we read about class. Class is very important in C#. Here everywhere class is very important. And here a class in TypeScript, we can define classes, and class will have three things. One thing is the constructor, properties, and methods. So it's simple to simple class. You can see here I have a class product, and I say product code number, product code string. That means two properties are there, and this is the product class. Similarly, how we can create an object of class. So late prod, and this is the object name, and new product, so of type this class. So late, this is the object name, and then this is new products. We do like this in C# also. Only thing is we do not use the late keyword. Now, if also I will show you another class where there will be properties and there will be constructor as well. So if you'll see here, class product and product ID, product name, string like this, and then have this constructor. So in TypeScript, you can define a constructor by using the keyword constructor. That's the reason I put constructor here, and there are two parameters. One is of type number, another is of type string, and I can assign the value within this constructor by this product and this. So whatever the properties we have defined, we can assign it here. So whatever the values it is coming, we can assign it like this. So, and there is another method also in the class. So get product name, and then you can see here it is taking a number parameter, and the return type is string. So I will say return smartphone. So it will return smartphone over there. So in TypeScript, as I said, you can define a constructor always by using the keyword constructor. So this is how we can call also. So this is how we can call the constructor, as well as we create an object for that particular class. So if you'll see here, let object product, and for new product, and if you'll see here the constructor, this is a two parameter constructor which is having ID and name is there. So that's the reason we are passing it here ID, and then there is a string variable, sorry, string value. So you have to pass a integer and string, because that's how we define our constructor in the class. Now next, if you'll see here, there is a TypeScript module is there. So this is very important. Remember how we are defining here, how this is very important concept. So make sure that we understand it properly. Now by default, when you define something in TypeScript, it is of global scope. So that means even if you have two files, let's say if I will open my same TypeScript project, I have a demo.ts file. I will add one file known as demo1.ts. And if you'll see here now, whatever you define in this one in demo.ts, let me just go there. I'll just copy this variable. So if you'll see here, bar employee name, I will declare one variable here. So this is of in the file demo.ts. You can see here, I will go to the demo1 file. So I will try to access that particular variable. You can see here the variable name is employee name. So I will go to the demo1 class. This is a separate, altogether a separate class. And if I will try to access demo1, so you can see here, let me just explain that once again. So what we will do is, what I was trying to tell you is, I have a variable known as employee name of type string, and I'll go to the other file which is known as demo1.ts. Here I will say console dot log, and here I will try to access that employee. So you can see here, when I'm type this employee, you can see here this is available now. So that means whatever we are declaring the variable, everything in one class, not one class exactly, one TS file or TypeScript file, this is available in other file as well. So that's the reason. Suppose you have an employee, I have in another file, you can also not only just access it, you can also modify it. That means I can also assign the value over there. So so this way it will be really problematic, because it is defining in one. You don't have now a scope, right? Because you are in one file, but you are able to modify some variable value which is in another file. So to overcome this, TypeScript comes up with concept known as modules and namespaces. So modules are a way to create a local scope in the file. so that all the variables or classes or function, anything that are declared in the module will not be accessible outside your outside of any file. So in which file I am writing, only it will be available or accessible in that file. That means in our case, if I so this whatever I define here, I should be able to access it within this demo.ts file, not the other file which is known as demo1.cs file. So to overcome this issue, your TypeScript is come up with the option saying add modules. So a module can be created using the keyword export, and a module can be used or can be accessed in another file by using the keyword import. That means if I will type something here export in this demo.ts file, now this will not be available in other files. But how we can get it? If we will write in the demo.ts file import. Now what is the syntax? Let me just show you. So the syntax is export var. So previously we do like var employee string like this, but if I will type export, then it will not be available. For example, I will go here, I will make just export here. Now the moment I put export here, I will save it. I will go to the demo1.s file. You can see here it show me an error message. If I'll put the cursor, it is saying cannot find name emp name, because now we declare this as export. Now how we can access it is we can access that by using our import thing. I will show you that. But let's say here I have a product.ts file. So export late, and I have a two numbers are there. ID, sorry, one is there which is known as ID, and by default it is the value is 5 and it is number type. So similarly, not only to this variables, we can also define the same thing for classes as well. So if you'll see here, I have created export class product, and this class will not be available in another file. So because we declare this at export, then you can see here same way you can have constructor, all these things. I have a get product method also there, so you can see here a console.log and all this you are printing in that method. So now how we can use the import? So remember the syntax is import, then export name. So that means whatever the export you are doing from, then the file path. So this is what exactly we have to do it. Now what is this one? So import product one from products. So now if we'll see here, how we can do is, let me just copy this code. So I will say import, let me just copy it. So if we'll see here now, I will say import, which one we are going to import? It is the employee name from where? From our demo.ts. You actually do not need to put the extension. Without extension, you have to put without extension. So this is the file name. So from which file, so in this case you will see here the file name is demo.ts. So import, and what we want to import it here, because I have one variable. So if I will go here, I will create another variable, say let's say employee one, and I will not export it. So you can see here now, if I will, sorry, let me put export again. So I put both export here. Now if I will go here, I will try to write now console dot log, and here if I will say emp employee one, you can see here I can access it. So because we have exported this thing, let me just save it. So if you'll see here, I can do this. Let me just try the other one. So I will say console dot log, and I will say emp1. So it should not do. Why it is doing? Because I have put the comma here. You can see here, you can put with comma. So let me just remove this. So if the moment I remove this, you can see here their error started. So you can import by using comma also, the way it was showing comma employee one, the other variable. We can do that way. The other way, if you want to import everything, let's say everything is export, whatever export is there, I want to import everything is over here, then we can put a different syntax here. We can put star here. So import product, let me just like this. So if I will do this, this is another way of doing import. So I will say import star as let's say product from, I will put the file name. So here it is demo. Uh, Now what will happen is whatever the variable are available on this demo, whatever the variable or function or classes which is of export, those everything will be imported here. You do not need to write actually comma separated way that you are importing one by one. So here if you want everything, you can just put star. So in this case I will say product dot and I will be able to access all the properties methods. So suppose we have a class, so I will say product dot class. So that's what we can do on this. So that's how we can use, we can work with import here, or this is how we can import or export to import. We saw how we can use it. So as I was telling, product.id, product.name, product.product, this is the class name. So whatever you will do export, everything will be come up when you will do import star. If you want to do one, you can put one. If you want to multiple, you can put comma separated. Import you can do, but if you want to import everything, then you can put import star there. Next, if you'll see here, there is namespace. So namespace, it includes again interface, class, function, variable, everything. It is a logical unit. Basically, it is a logical unit that we are grouping. So suppose I have, it's a pretty simple. The syntax is pretty simple, namespace and the name. So if you'll see here, I have a namespace ts info, and then I have a class. Inside that you can see here export class products, and I can access the class by using ts info dot products. So namespace dot, this is how you will be able to access it. Now this is also how we can you can run it. So tsc hyphen hyphen out, and this is the js file and the file name that you want to have. In this case, let's say we have demo dot or product dot ts, and then finally you can run it by using node tsinfo.js. So but if you want to, if your namespace is in a separate file, then we can give the reference like this. So triple slash and then a reference path equal to, and this is your file name. So file name means the ts file name. So whatever the ts file name, you can add it. So this is how you can refer if it is there in another file, and you want to refer that namespace over in this file, then you have to give a reference path like this. So this is basically what we discussed it about the basic things of TypeScript, so that you will be able to know actually how we can write code. Because remember, in SharePoint Framework, we are using TypeScript as the language, not like C#.NET, which we usually write. So if you are familiar with C#.NET, then it is really easy to go for TypeScript. And we will see some more examples on now we will actually go to framework, and then if time permits, if latter point of time, probably we can go for some more TypeScript tutorials. But as of now, I think it is enough to start with. So we can start with, and anytime you have the option that you can read more on any technologies.